Hello and welcome to another vlog. This one's a little bit curious because I'm going to admit not defeat but things that have gone wrong on a particular method I tried. That method being the Ruth Stout method. I always thought I might encounter the problems, but it's not helpful if people like me don't acknowledge when things go wrong, because no good people trying it for themselves thinking it's all going to be wonderful and then it's actually not, which is the case here. Let me show you what's gone wrong. So the secondary and main crop potatoes went in, and at first glance it looks okay, but then you see these sticks up here. There's quite a few sticks poking up as we move through the crop, and what it is these are displaced potatoes that were upended by, I assume, voles. They were basically pushed around. They're quite an irregular pattern, so they're not in the rows that I put them in to start off with. They're all over the place, and I assume what's happened is the voles early in the season have been playfully messing with crop. So much so that they were stuck up in the hay, roots unable to grab rid of any soil or any moisture in that dry weather, and I've had to do a secondary planting of them, of these same tubers. So there's nothing wrong with the tubers because they are coming up now, but they're now weeks behind the main crop. So that's the first, not disaster, but well, yeah, it is disaster really. I've lost a good third of this potential crop of potatoes. That's a waste of time, if I'm honest. How the yields actually turn out, I really don't know. If we actually compare these in the hay in the various different ways I planted them in the hay, and then we come across to the two other methods that I have actually used. One is under leaves, just leaves, nothing else, and then the more traditional no dig way, which is, you can see the haulms are far better, they're far bigger, stronger. They're actually putting up flowers earlier. They just look so much better. So I'll just go from here across over to here. You can see they're quite a big difference. You're looking at the same varieties as we go forward. This variety here, I, without looking at the notes, I don't know which one it was, really struggling in comparison to the no dig bed. So that's not a disaster. Yeah, it's a disaster number one. The second disaster is the crops that I've planted directly into soil, into the hay. It's basically one big slugfest. I always thought this was a more than likely outcome. The slugs have nobbled to sweet corn already, but if we come across over here, an entire row of squash have gone. There's two plants left up there, and these rows here, all these rows here, right up through this lot, was all sunflowers, and there is almost nothing left. Absolute failed crop, totally slug eaten, beaten to a pulp as well. And there's just the first signs that couch grass is making a resurgence. That will be easy enough to deal with, but it's not what I wanted, really. Well, half what I wanted. The good thing is, the really good thing is, that it's really kept the weeds at bay. You know, it's done a magnificent job doing stuff organically, naturally is what I really would like to do. I don't want this glass stuff down plastic, really. An environmentally unfriendly way of addressing weeds that the Ruth Stout method definitely does compare with very favourably, because this was free. So in hindsight, what I guess I should have done is put the hay on much sooner and left it longer with no crops going in. I think I would do potatoes again, depending on the yield and the damage, because I suspect that the tubers themselves will suffer a lot of kill slug damage. This was always a concern of mine, but I wanted to give it a go. Other people in other climates have had a lot of success, and well, you need no fool like me to try it and show what a failure it is, or a success. It might all prove to be wonderful. The yields might be magnificent, and the foliage nothing to go on as far as an indication of how good or bad these potatoes are. So wait and see what harvest brings to announce whether this is a success or a failure. I think it's going to be a complete failure. Mr. Optimistic, eh? But it's been a complete success, a 95% success against weeds. The odd weed has persistently grown. A dock or two has come up really strongly through it, and no amount of hay is going to stop it. But the rest of the weeds have really been bashed back. The few weeds that I've shown you today aren't really a problem. Another move around of this hay and that they would be subdued again, and that's what I will do. But I guess instead of plastic, this has worked really well. So it's an environmentally friendly way of using the resources that I have at hand, natural, and I guess at the end of the day this can be reused next year on another patch, and then this lot will be taken up and have compost down just like normal, but with much less weed pressure. That's the hope, that's the dream. Let's see if that's the case in the long term. See you later, guys. See you on the next one. Bye for now.